Great Lakes cruising season is now well underway, and Ports Toronto says this year is once again setting another record, with 54 ships scheduled to visit the city between May and October, bringing more than 22,000 passengers.
So this is actually our third record season in a row. So we had a record year last year in 2022, and we've already broken the record this year again. We were coming off a couple of years of pandemic restrictions for cruise ships, so those were difficult years, of course, but cruise came roaring back. We had a lot of ships last year, a lot of passengers, and this year, you know, the demand was there.
We were quite well prepared for a resumption. What we were not quite prepared for was the amount of business that was coming, which has been quite formidable, not always easy to develop because the cruise lines have had issues with staffing as everyone else has during COVID, but we've sorted it out.
The Port of Toronto says that this is going to be a record year. This sounds like obvious good news for the city of Toronto. Great Lakes cruising, of course, however, is a very large geographical area. Are other cities in that orbit benefiting from this too?
They are indeed, and the Port of Toronto is correct. It is going to be a banner year for Great Lakes cruising. Post-pandemic, we've seen a great interest from not only the cruise lines, but of course their guests. And to answer your question, it will be spread right across the Great Lakes from as far east as Montreal and as far west as Thunder Bay.
Yeah, and the number one port in the Great Lakes has always been Mackinac Island. But some new ports, Parry Sound has done really well, and Killarney, Ontario, just first time having a ship in 80 years last year. And the second ship has joined.
Did you guys find that it was also a little bit of a stretch, or were you ready for it?
So we're lucky here that we can accommodate a couple of cruise ships at a time.
The port here in Toronto is also a turnaround port, allowing the downtown and waterfront business community to host arriving and departing cruise ship passengers for several days at a time. According to Cruise the Great Lakes, an initiative led by the Conference of Great Lakes Governors and Premiers, cruising in the Great Lakes generated an economic value of over $120 million US to the region's ports and communities in 2022. At the Portlands in Toronto, David Zura, City News.